Hey guys, it's your boy Ars back at it again with another video. As you guys are already aware, in version 4.2, Firefly, HuoHuo, Seele, and Welt are going to be getting buffed. In this video, I'm going to briefly discuss which units I think are high priority in terms of them getting a buff and are most deserving of said buffs, and then also discuss the units that I think are not worthy of those buffs and did not need them at this time. I have another video that is going to be coming out after this one. It's probably not going to come today, but I have essentially a tier list where I'm going to be yapping about which units are most deserving of buffs and who are not. So I'm making this one because it's going to be shorter, easier to digest, and get straight to the point. So starting off with the unit that I think is the most worthy of getting a buff, it is none other than HuoHuo. So HuoHuo is a limited 5-star abundance unit, meaning her primary priority is to keep her team alive. And she does an absolute dog shit job of doing that. My Bailu has better raw healing than her. And unfortunately, players in the community are still slow, and they think that having a cleanse is the end all be all in this game. In a game where you cannot dodge, the priority is healing, the actual raw healing, because it doesn't matter if you have a cleanse if your team keeps dying. It's very simple. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it as many times as I need to say it. So, back in the day, people thought, unironically, that Natasha and Lynx were better than Bailu because they have a cleanse. Meanwhile, in 2026, I could take my Bailu into the hardest content in the game and still be able to clear it comfortably, whereas if you were to take Natasha or Lynx, you would be playing reset rail for the next couple of hours of your life, trying to figure out why you thought it was a good idea to attempt to use those units in 2026. But moving back to HuoHuo, what they need to do as a priority is to buff her healing capabilities, make it so that she's a more comfortable healer, meaning you have to increase her scaling, improve her multipliers, and she'll be a much better healer. And that should be the first thing the developers focus on, and I hope that is the first thing they're going to focus on. As for her energy regeneration, what I would like to see is for her to generate 30% energy for everybody. And yes, this includes those who don't have a standard energy bar, so units like Feixiao, units like Acheron, and even Cyrene. I think that would make her a much better unit and would make her significantly more valuable to the average free-to-play player. And yes, I'm saying free-to-play player because it appears that I was correct, and they actually are going to be adding buffed HuoHuo to the store. It has not been officially confirmed, but it seems like the rumors are becoming more and more confirmed as fact. Therefore, once version 4.2 rolls around, we should be able to get a free HuoHuo, which will be of great value to legitimately everybody. I'm here for it. I would love to see it, and I can't wait for it. So, in terms of number one priority, I'm putting HuoHuo as number one and the most deserving of a buff. Next, I would say it's 1000% Seele. Seele has been in need of a buff for a very long time. She has some of the highest potential of any DPS unit in the entire game. She's one of the few 1.x DPSs that can still zero cycle to this day. And essentially all she needs are some bigger multipliers, bigger numbers, and she'll be a better unit. I also think that it would be very good for her to be categorized as a follow-up unit, because then she would also get the benefit of the follow-up buffs that are going to be coming with the different units that will be releasing later on in the version. Also, make it so that her resurgence can proc without having to kill a target would be massively beneficial to her. Maybe they give her a new animation with an actual follow-up, because resurgence isn't a follow-up, it's an extra action. But they could give her new animations as well and basically make her a brand new fresh unit. I think it would be great. It's not something that's outside the realm of possibility. They gave units new animations in Currency Wars. They gave the Remembrance Trailblazer a new animation as well. So I'm hoping that they actually give some love and respect to Seele, buff her numbers, make it so that her resurgence can proc without having to kill a target. Basically just classify her as being a follow-up unit and give her some actual follow-ups, and should be a massively better unit from my perspective. So I would put her as number 2 priority on this list. On to number 3, it's Welt. Personally, I don't like this buff at all. I don't think that he was worthy of a buff at this time. It doesn't make sense to buff him over the other standard banners that needed it way more, and would have made sense within the confines of this version. So obviously, this is going to be a sort of Himiko focused version. I think that buffing Himiko would have made infinitely more sense than buffing Welt. They could have even buffed Yang Xing. Yang Xing has needed help for a very, very long time as well. He's also a follow-up unit. It would have made sense since they're buffing follow-up. Why not buff a follow-up unit? They could have even buffed Bailu and gave her a cleanse. Anything would have made way more sense than buffing Welt, because once they buff Welt, what are they going to do with him? That's the question that's essentially on everyone's mind. And the fact that most people can't figure out what they're going to do with them without having to reach far into the future and grasp at straws at leaks is kind of a problem. So from my perspective, all buffs are not good buffs. If you're going to buff a unit, they need to be relevant after you've buffed them. They buffed Jinglu, they buffed Blade, and guess what? They're both mediocre. So if they waste their time buffing Welt and he doesn't have a good spot to fit in the meta, guess what? He's going to fall off too. I don't like this buff. I don't think he was worthy of this buff. I don't think it makes any sense to give him this buff. So I don't like the fact that he got a buff. I don't agree with him being buffed. And from my perspective, he was not worthy of a buff at this time. And of course, the unit that 1000% did not deserve a buff at this time is none other than Firefly. Everybody knows that subscribe to me that I hate Firefly. I've hated Firefly because of her supreme glazers who defend her no matter what and try to act like they're basically better and superior to effectively any other DPS in the game. Now, granted, most people that have mains and are terminally online are like this, but Firefly glazers are a whole separate level of annoying. And this goes all the way back to version 2. In version 2, Firefly glazers were saying that she was the best free-to-play DPS in the game. She was easier to build. She had more free-to-play friendly teams, yada, yada, yada. I was in the Feixiao camp. I believe that Feixiao was a better free-to-play friendly DPS. And after version 3 started, Firefly essentially fell off a cliff and Feixiao continued to do well. So I was correct 1000%. They gave her a free Ruame in version 3, which should have been of great boon to Firefly. Of course, wasn't enough. So they said, we're going to give her a dedicated unit specifically for Firefly, which is none other than Dahlia. Even after they've done all that, they're still going to give her a direct buff. That is fucking outrageous. And anyone who has higher than room temperature IQ knows that's outrageous. So effectively, they gave her free Ruame. Then they gave her a dedicated unit in Dahlia. A unit that is so unfathomably overpowered that just having Dahlia in comparison to, for example, the Novaflares dot units puts her, Firefly, on the same level as the dot path. Legitimately, Dahlia is so broken and so overpowered that she effectively equals all the Novaflares units for the dot path. I'm not joking. You can literally compare the results and the clearance data between the two, and weirdly enough, it seems that Firefly teams are a bit more consistent, despite the fact that Dot had to have Black Swan get buffed and Kafka get buffed, and then allegedly Zhao Q might be getting buffed as well, on top of them getting a brand new unit in Hysolence. So why Firefly needed a buff at this time doesn't make any sense to me at all. She is a part of a top 3 archetype already, whereas Dot had to be buffed through the roof in order to become a top 3. The only thing that Firefly needed to be top 3 was one unit, and that was Dahlia. That was it. And she was top 3. But for some reason, they're giving her a buff anyway. I keep saying, for some reason. We know the reason. The reason is money. That's all it is. All it boils down to. She's a waifu bait character. Giving her a buff means more money for HuoHuoverse. It's sad. That's the way it is. I do not believe that she was worthy of this buff at all. There were significantly more deserving limited 5 stars that needed buffs over her. And I am extremely disappointed that after they gave her a unit as overpowered as Dahlia, after they literally just gave her that plus a free E1 Rurouni Mei, essentially, they still said it's not enough. We have to directly buff her. That's crazy to me. They could have pushed that buff back for when she actually started struggling. She's not struggling right now. She's fine. She's been fine ever since Dahlia came out. I don't like this buff. I will never like this buff. No one will convince me that this was a good idea. And I simply do not respect the devs for making this decision. I know they don't need my respect. I'm just saying I've lost respect for them pulling this move. I have great respect for what they do, what they've done with this game, and allowing me to enjoy this game for 1,000+ days as a free-to-play player. But if I see a move that is very clearly only made because of money, obviously I'm going to call it out. I think this is BS. They could have legitimately buffed any other limited 5-star unit aside from her. So I don't agree with it. I don't like it. And I'm going to be very clear and honest about it. So that's my thoughts on these Novaflares. I am very, very excited for HuoHuo and Seele at the very least. I do not give a shit about Welt. I do not think that he should have got buffed. And I hate Firefly. And I am very, very disappointed that she's getting a buff over literally any other limited 5-star that might need it. So that's my perspective. If you like the video, like, subscribe, do all that jazz. But that's all for me. Your boy Scrub Hero R's is out.
Hidden my strength aside, my grief and sorrow. Keeping the light on in the dark place was a pain. Been trying to be the best, it's been a war within. Losing, but I felt like I was born to win. I was born to win, I was born to be great. The sun may never shine upon the hero.